here today with Tom Farrah, who is the Senior VP and CIO of Dr. Pepper Snapple, Tom Young, who is the Managing Director for ISG, and Anubhav Saxena, who is the Senior Vice President in charge of Marketing and Global Development for HCL. So welcome. Okay. And then, Tom, from your perspective, okay, so you're into building this relationship and getting it going and keeping a very dynamic company going because you're in a highly competitive market. Mm-hmm. How are you being able to work your service management framework, your operating level agreements, and making sure that we as HCL play well with others and others play well with us and with you? I mean, how do you do that every morning when you get up?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is around, again, how you build the partnership and the relationship. So one of the things, again, we've done differently at Dr. Pepper Snapple is we really do treat our partners as partners. I'll give you an example. In years past, when our IT organization would have a town hall or working sessions, it was for employees only. Well, we threw all that out and we include our partners. So HCL attends all of our meetings. We go through objective setting together. So all of it is collaborative, and the partners really are treated as part of our business. And when you do that, you actually see the difference in people in that they feel an ownership. They feel like, hey, I'm part of this business. And so if they see sales going up in one of our brands or we've achieved a level of efficiency, they feel ownership and they feel proud of that. And that's really helped kind of even spawn people to where they bring innovative ideas to us. And that's, ultimately what we really want in a partnership, because then it really is one cohesive organization focused on the goals of the business, and it's not about managing contract level agreements.
Okay, so then from your perspective, as you move forward, what are the things that you would ask from HCL or from Anubhav, in terms of what you're going to need to be able to manage your business in the future? Mm-hmm. And how would you like him to be?
Yeah, I think, further growing the flexibility that we have in our partnership. Because again, I don't know 6 months from now what's going to happen in the business. There may be a shift in direction or a shift in priority. And having that great flexibility with your partner allows you to, rather than going and pulling out a contract and reading subsections of it, you pick up the phone and you say, here, we need to talk about this. This is important to our business. How can we jointly come up with a plan to go address it? And that, I think, is going to be more and more the way that these relationships need to operate, because that's how people really see the value. If it's about, job shopping resources, then having a partnership really doesn't bring you value, and you're not leveraging what the partner can bring for you.
And then what advice would you give Tom from an ISG perspective on what do you really need from him as you go forward? And how do you want to keep him involved in the relationship?
Sure. I think, for ISG, continuing to evolve kind of the mindset and the ideas around the practice of sourcing engagements, and, looking at how the world is changing and how you can better those things. That's certainly not something that, I want to spend my time on or my organization spending it on, but when I can rely on a partner like ISG who's looking across the industries, looking at the new value-add opportunities and better ways of working, they bring that to us, and again, that's how we partner with them and leverage what we get to in terms of our operations.
Yeah. Now, Tom's the marriage broker in this whole thing.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
What advice would you give Tom, and what advice would you give Anubhav as the representative from HCL to keep the relationship young and fresh?
Well, I think it needs continued flexibility, and you have to constantly recognize, and I used this in our panel earlier this morning, that the pace of change in our marketplace is exceeding our pace of learning. And that is true. It's true next year. It's true the year after that. And so it requires you to constantly be evaluating, what am I doing that's not yielding the optimal business results for the environment? And so things like trust and transparency, they sound like vague, touchy-feely concepts, but what it really means is if I'm going to have a win-win relationship, I need to know that my partner has skin in the game like I do, so that if I'm struggling, they feel my pain. And likewise, I want to make sure if I'm the buyer, I also understand that if the service provider is feeling pain, that I feel that pain, and we work together to solve it. Now, ultimately, relationships have their cycles, or they go up and down, and I think you just got to work through that. And if you can't get to a point where maybe the basis of that foundation changes, you have to restructure it, and I think it gets to that point. But I would say it requires lots of work. The actual signing of the agreement is just day one, that's not for the champagne. You can have the champagne, but understand that's when the work begins.
There you go. There you go. And Anubhav, is there anything you'd like to add to these
Yeah,
comments?
well, a couple of things, Joe. I've seen Tom advising very, very serious Fortune 500 clients over the years, and I've seen how he and his teams are actually redefining the marketplace. The conversations have got more sophisticated. They've become extremely important. They've shifted from pure IT services into business and business SLAs, and those kind of conversations. They're building those into contracts. So, the point back to Tom would be, thank you for actually defining the marketplace. I mean, you're the ones who really kind of lead the way kind of lead the way. And of course, the point back to Tom is, thank you for being a very valued customer. I mean, we are very fortunate, Joe, in having customers who treat us like partners and, who bring us close to their entire processes, the business value, allow us to create value. And, we're not a perfect organization, but, we would definitely like to thank Tom for allowing us to be a partner.
Tom, as the client and customer in this, we'd like to give you the last word. And number one, I think the simple question really is, what would you say to your peers? Okay, what advice would you give your peers as they would go down this kind of a journey? What are the things that they need to be able to watch out for?
Yeah, I think, along the lines of what we were talking about, I mean, you really need to break out of that model of, trying to manage down to the nth level, looking at contracts. You really have to have trust in your partner. And again, they have to earn the trust. They have to build that up through delivery. But letting go of those things they may be important, but they're not going to drive results that the business is looking for. If that's what you've outsourced to a partner, you need to let them run that. And you need to help them be successful at it. That way you can focus on the things that your business is looking for you to deliver that are above and beyond what you've outsourced. So really changing your own mindset and kind of letting go of the past is key.